Hi everybody, it's Tom from Vehicle Visionary. I hope you're having a great day. This is the 2024 Honda CR-V. It's the LX trim level. It has an exterior color of Steel Night Pearl with a black interior. And in today's video, we're going to give you the information to answer the question, is this the best crossover SUV? It definitely has a lot going for it. Fully redesigned for the 2023 model year. It's a little larger, but not so much that it's too much. Really seems to fit just right. Plenty of space in the interior, plenty of cargo space. And if you go with the LX trim level, as we have today, among other additional available trim levels, guess what you get? A spare tire, something you don't get with the hybrid model. So let's dig into this model and see exactly what it has and what it's all about. I'm at Holmes Honda today. There's a link in the description of the video if you want to know more about this particular model. And for those of you who might say this isn't really a 2024, yes, people do that. There is the window sticker. Now you can't say anything. Somebody probably will anyway. When it comes to seeing after dark, well, it definitely will not be a problem because you have LED headlights, also LED daytime running lights, and LED tail lights. No, that flickering effect is not really happening that you see with the blinker up there. That's actually to do with my camera. You'll see that a lot on YouTube. I know a lot of people don't necessarily tell you that that's an issue with the camera, but it's not really happening in real time. As far as safety features go, you have Honda Sensing. That's going to be road departure mitigation braking, lane keeping assist, adaptive cruise control, traffic jam assist. It's all here. And one thing about the CR-V is that it comes standard with front-wheel drive, but you can option in all-wheel drive if you so desire. This model is all-wheel drive, and speaking of that, let's take a look at the tire and wheel size. The width is going to be 235. We're going to have a 65 series sidewall wrapped around a 17-inch wheel. And body-colored mirror caps. On the LX trim level, you do have turn signal indicators built into the power adjustable but manually folding side view mirrors. Now, these are not heated. Tell me what you think about that. Do you prefer heated side view mirrors? Doesn't matter. Here's the remote. Everything that you have there. The one thing that might be missing for some of you, well, you don't have a remote start, but obviously you can change trim levels and that problem will be alleviated. We'll finish things off here with the body-colored shark fin antenna up there, the rear spoiler right here, and we'll also have your all-wheel drive logo right there. Like I said, LED taillights finish things off. A very sharp-looking color. Tell me what you think down in the comments section. Do you like Steel Night Pearl, or what color do you prefer, maybe besides this particular color? Under the hood is the 1.5-liter turbocharged four-cylinder. It makes a plentiful 190 horsepower. Torque numbers come in at 179, and it is mated to a CVT. But drive one of these before you say, oh no, not a CVT. It's actually very well behaved, but I do understand. I'm with a lot of you. It would be nice to have maybe an 8-speed automatic transmission, something like that. But that's what's here, and yet these still sell very well. So how about MPGs? That helps too. 27 city, 32 highway, 29 combined, and 3.4 gallons of gas per every 100 miles driven. At least that's the potential. And if you're curious, this model comes with a 14-gallon gas tank. The LX trim level does not come with a power tailgate, but it is dampened, so the assist feature makes it very easy to open. And something that's different between this LX and, say, the hybrid version of the CR-V is towing capacity. The hybrid version will tow up to 1,000 pounds. If you go non-hybrid, such as what we have here, it will tow up to 1,500 pounds. And cargo capacity comes in at 36.6 to 39.3 to 76.5 cubic feet. I did want to show you how to fold that seat down just so you can see right there, because I know a lot of people like to see everything maximized. So now you can see that. It's easy to deal with, but for those who might ask, now you know. You will have your cargo lighting here in the rear cargo area. That's always helpful. And the handy dandy 12-volt power outlet located right there. And there's one more little trick here. That trick has to do with the floor, and this is the difference between cargo capacity between the non-hybrid and the hybrid versions of the CR-V. So you can see where the floor is. It's even with the area down here where the door closes, but you can also drop the floor. That helps in a lot of ways, and obviously what's under the floor helps as well, because you have that spare tire that I showed you earlier. I know that's important to a lot of you. I understand that being the case. And what will your rear seat passengers find? Well, they'll find a lot of space. They'll also find comfortable armrests on the door panel, a decent sized door bin for a crossover SUV, and the seats recline. As you can see, I only have one side reclined back, but that way you can see the difference between the two. And we'll also pull down the fold down armrest with the cup holders built in. You will also find air conditioning vents on the rear of the center console. And for those who want a little larger door bin and a little larger armrest, the passenger seat is the place for you, unless you can grab the remote before the driver does. Maybe you are the driver, who knows? But whatever the case is, you can find a larger door bin here. Now, one thing you won't find here are power adjustable seats. Not a big deal. The driver and the passenger seats are manually adjustable, but still fully adjustable. That's helpful. And we'll take a quick look across the dashboard as far as the way everything looks. You do have plenty of space located within this area. Notice you have wheel locks on your CR-V. The wheel lock key is found in here. That's especially helpful when changing a tire if you need to, because you know you have that spare tire to change if necessary. Another USB and a 12-volt power outlet right here. Space in front of the shifter, that's nice. Use that as whatever you need to store there. Also, your shifter, speaking of that, it's not push button. I know that will make a lot of you very happy. You also will have the mode selector for your driving modes right here. You can turn the auto stop start feature off if you want to. You can also use your hill start assist. Also, power parking brake and brake hold mode. That can come in very handy in stop and go traffic. If you live in a very large city, you deal with that a lot. That's good. That means you come to a complete stop and the brakes do not disengage until you touch the gas pedal again, but you don't have to keep your foot on the brake pedal. Cup holders and the center console that doubles as an armrest. You can lower your seat or raise it up depending on what you need to do to make that work for you. It seems to be in a good place. And a very deep center console. Quite a bit of space for a crossover SUV. Now here on the LX trim level, you will notice we don't have a sunroof. Some of you like that, some of you don't. Some of you want a panoramic sunroof. Tell me what your thoughts are where that is concerned. And you have your sunglass holder up here that's really a multitasker. You can use that in a multitude of ways to store, well, whatever will fit. And taking a look in through the driver's side door, here are the adjustments for those power adjustable side view mirrors. You can control all of the windows. You know what all is here. Pretty easy to figure out. Traction control right here. Turn that on or off. You can also drop the lever to adjust the tilt and telescopically adjustable steering wheel. We'll hop inside and hit our push button start and show you what the instrument cluster looks like. That's pretty easy to deal with. It looks nice, it looks modern, but yet it's not complicated. You can go through a lot of information here. All I'm doing to change what's on the left-hand side on that left gauge right there is push the home button right here, and then you can use the scroll wheel to go through whatever it is you need to know about the vehicle. It's simple. It really is. You can use the hunt and peck method. You have the control here for the headlights, and if you're using the hunt and peck method and you figure out that this lever moves up and down and you're curious to know what that is, do you see those arrows up there? See how that one blinks to the right? And that one, when you push it into the down position, blinks to the left. That corresponds with the blinkers on the exterior of your vehicle. In case you didn't know, that lets people around you know what you're doing when you're driving. I know that's news to some people. I can't be funny or sarcastic about this lever, however, because you do use that. That's what controls your front and rear window wipers. Also your steering wheel mounted controls. Everything here very easy to figure out. Like I say, you can use the hunt and peck method. It just makes life so much easier to figure out. Now, you do have your 7-inch touchscreen. This isn't complicated, and neither is the 9-inch, even though they look different from one another as far as their layout goes. Both of these are very simple to use or very simple to learn. You can pair your phone here. All that stuff is here. You will need a USB cable in this case to do that. Not hard to deal with, but just so you know what's here. You also have your multi-view rear view camera. There are 3 different views here, so depending on what you need to see and where you need to see, that is easy to do. Here on the LX trim level, one thing you will not find is going to be dual zone climate control. Not necessarily a big deal. We do have 2 zones of climate because you have the front and the rear, but you can control it all from right here. But it's simple to deal with, no big deal. That's what you ultimately have. And one thing I also wanted to show you, we looked at the drive mode selector earlier. What exactly are the driving modes? Well, you start out with normal, and we'll show you what comes up on the gauge there on the left-hand side. Then we will go into Econ mode. You also have snow mode with all-wheel drive. That is going to be a very nice thing. Now, you'll notice there doesn't seem to be a sport mode, but it is here if you want to use it. You just have to go into sport mode down here with the shifter. There's drive, and then you see the S behind that. That is your sport mode. And just to show you how things look here in the interior, as far as when your lighting is on after dark, just give you the best look that I possibly can. Hopefully everything is being picked up well enough by the GoPro. And beyond that, we also have the view with the low beams. There are the high beams if you want to use those. And one more thing I'll show you here. Let's hop outside and show you what everything looks like from the outside, at least as best as we can. You can see the turn signal indicators with the side view mirrors right there. There are the headlights. I won't give you a head-on view so we blind anybody. Don't want to do that. And last but not least, the LED tail lights we took a look at earlier, except this time they're illuminated, just to give you a little added value, something you don't see in every single one of these videos. Okay, we're going to do a quick test drive here and see what it's like to drive this CR-V. It definitely has a comfortable ride quality, and it isn't that the previous generation of the CR-V was uncomfortable, but I do believe this one is a little more comfortable than it was before. Having a little more wheelbase definitely helps. So the shorter your wheelbase is, the more rough the ride is likely to be in most cases. That's what I've experienced with a lot of vehicles. But I have to say here, it's comfortable, and steering is nice and responsive. Obviously not meant to be sports car or high performance like, but it still works well. A very tight turning radius that can come in handy in a multitude of ways. And if you live in an area where it snows a lot and you deal with snow and ice a good portion of the winter, if not all winter, sometimes even when I lived in Colorado at one point, we dealt with that into the summer in some places. It was interesting, but all-wheel drive is very helpful there. Tell me what you think if you have an all-wheel drive CR-V, whether it's a 23 or a 24, or maybe something earlier than that. How has that been if you've driven it in the snow? And overall, a very comfortable interior, plenty of space. I don't feel cramped personally at 5'10". People over 6 feet tall, I believe, will be comfortable as well. And something I always like to point out with Hondas, if you're that person who is saying, I have waited a very long time to buy a new vehicle, and the technology in these vehicles today is a bit scary. I really don't know. I'm not going to use much of it. Well, once you get used to it and learn it, you might change your mind on that. You might find yourself using it more than you thought. But one thing about this LX trim level with the 7-inch touchscreen, depending on your trim level, you can go up to the 9-inch, but both are equally as simple to use. But if you want what is, it's not that one's more difficult to learn than the other, but this one's more simplified because there's not as much there. This is easy to deal with as far as Honda goes. You don't have to learn anything that's complicated. That's one thing I always like to point out about these Honda vehicles with their infotainment screens. the technology is very easy to learn, which means it's very easy to use. Overall, a very well-rounded vehicle. And with 190 horsepower under the hood, what is it like to drive as far as acceleration goes? Well, it gets down the road just fine. It gets up to speed without any trouble at all. And like I said before, I know a lot of people are not in favor of a CVT. And like I say, I don't necessarily blame you for that. But since that's your only option here, whether it's the CVT or the eCVT with the hybrid trim levels or hybrid versions of the CR-V, it seems to be very well behaved. So you might try it before you make a decision on that. Better than a lot of others that I've driven as far as other models with CVTs. So overall, a very nice vehicle. 190 horsepower, is it enough? I think it is. Could it use more? Come on, you're talking to somebody who enjoys high performance vehicles. Everything needs more horsepower, but I think it's very well balanced between the power and the weight. The ratio there is very well balanced. Overall, very enjoyable to drive, but remember, even though we're looking at the LX trim level today, if you're saying to yourself, well, there's some features and options I'd like to have, obviously, step up to a higher trim level and you'll find whatever those may be. So tell me what you think down in the comments section. Is the 2024 version of the Honda CR-V the best crossover SUV? Tell me what your thoughts are and tell me why you answered the way that you did. I do want to say a special thanks to my friends here at Holmes Honda for loaning me this CR-V for the day, and a special thanks to each and every one of you for being kind enough to give me the opportunity to give you a vision for your next vehicle. If you enjoyed this video and haven't subscribed to the Vehicle Visionary YouTube channel just yet, please consider doing so. And if you would like to learn about additional vehicles you may wish to consider purchasing, check out the video that's on the screen right now, and I will see you there.